How's it going, Facebook? Rob here. Tonight is Wednesday, January 9th, 2020. Happy New Year to everyone. This is my first vlog of 2020. It's been a little bit since I vlogged. I made a short video, I don't know what day it was, January 3rd maybe, about a week ago, but not my normal. And I'm back on Facebook Live. I did a little experiment where I was going live on YouTube for a little while, just testing some things out. But I'll be back here doing my vlogs every week, just like normal. So I want to stay consistent and catch everybody up on what's going on. What's up, Jess Boza? So I want to talk a little bit about all the stuff that's happening in my world, but before I do, I wanted to touch on my confession last week. On New Year's Eve, I came really close to making a mistake with a female, and posted a short video about it, but I didn't really talk a lot about it just because wasn't in the right headspace to discuss it. Really, depressed me. The next day, I literally slept for 24 hours. I went home when I slept at the hotel. I went home that day. I went to bed at like sometime in the afternoon and slept till the next day because I just felt so defeated, I guess, bad about myself. Because up until then, I mean, for the most part, I've been strong. I've avoided a lot of situations, a lot of situations, just through with God's help, but through a lot of determination and a lot of willpower. And that night, I did not have determination or willpower, and it really, I just was able to avoid a mistake only by the grace of God. It wasn't because of me. It really made me feel like I dropped the ball. Here I'm getting ready to go on this tour, called The Truth About Sex, where I'm going to be talking to people about waiting and the practicality of it, the benefits of waiting. And here I am about to have sex, just casual sex with someone that I'm not even dating. Anyway, and it just, it depressed me. It really made me feel bad. And, I wanted to get it out there because I just didn't want anybody to hear any rumors from anyone. But I wasn't really ready to talk about it until now. So, I reflected a lot on it after that, and I was like, if you think about, like, God's given me a really interesting circumstance, because here I am, I've had a ton of casual sex, probably was a sex addict, and then now I have started this nonprofit. Like, so most people, when they make changes in their life, they remove themselves from that situation. So, like, let's say people that are drinkers, they don't go to the bar anymore because they don't want to be around it. So for me, like, I have this history, this past, but my ministry, let's call it a ministry, my city fam is my heart, because I see that it helps people. So I have to be in environments and social settings where people don't necessarily subscribe to my beliefs about waiting. And here I am, I have this past, I have this taste that I developed over years of feeding that animal, and I have to be in environments where people are okay with having sex. And then I also now have this platform of purity, of waiting, which basically means you can't mess up because you're the guy that's telling people why it makes sense to not mess up. So it's created this really interesting dynamic, where it's like, I mean, I'll be honest, sometimes I want it. Of course, I want it desperately, like bad, but I know that it's not right. I know what the right thing is, and I can explain it to people, and I do a great job of that. But I have to be around it all the time too, which makes it really freaking hard. And, like, if I let my guard down even for a moment, like, something really bad could happen, like it almost did on New Year's Eve. So it's tough. Sometimes it's like, it's heavy. It's hard to carry that weight around because it feels like so much responsibility, and how many people I'd be letting down if I did mess up. And I know I would. And there's nothing else besides carrying that. Because honestly, as hard as it is sometimes to carry that, it's better than the way that I felt on New Year's Day, because that was terrible. Like, honestly, I felt like I would have rather just died, you know, like that's how bad I felt. So anyway, you know, I said in that video, I made the decision to get sober again. I'd been kind of experimenting with alcohol for the last 8 months, and really mostly just because, you know, life got hard, and I was trying to self-medicate, I guess. You know, I don't take any prescription meds of any kind for depression or anything like that. So I was just trying to, you know, use alcohol to make myself feel a little bit better, and that was a bad decision. So I apologize if there's anyone out there that I led astray in saying, hey, this is something that I want to try. Hopefully nobody else was hurt in that process. But I'm back on the wagon now, have been for the past, I don't know, 7 or 8 days, I guess. And I feel good. I mean, it feels great, actually. I have a lot of peace in making that decision again. You know, like in my head, I never wanted alcohol to be a part of my life again. But it just kind of worked out that way, you know, where like I said, life got hard for a minute, and I turned to that to kind of comfort myself a little bit. But it feels really good to be back sober again, and I definitely feel like that's the right decision with all that God is doing in my life, because just I can't be fuzzy. I can't ever get to the point where you know, like my inhibitions are lowered, you know, because what I'm doing is just too important, which I'll talk about in a minute. So yeah, I had a friend say to me right after that happened, they're like, well, you know, why don't you just get married? You know, like, why don't you just choose somebody? There's a lot of girls in City Fam. Why don't you just pick one of them and get married, and then you won't have to, you know, have that temptation. And trust me, the thoughts crossed my mind, you know, but I can't settle. I can't pull off because I'm scared of making a mistake, because that would probably help, you know, to be honest. That would definitely make it easier, at least on the short term, is to just go ahead and get married, because then you can have sex and you're not, you know, tempted. But the way I look at that is that would be the equivalent of me removing myself from God's will and taking matters into my own hands, because He could send me that perfect person. Like, that's what I'm really waiting for. I'm not waiting. I'm waiting for God to tell me who and when. You know, I want to fall in love, and I want Him to tell me this is the person, and this is when you should get married to that person. So if I was just to go ahead and say, no, you know what, this is too dangerous, you know, like, go ahead and just pick somebody, that would be me just trying to decide for myself and taking matters into my own hands, which I'm not willing to do. Because how do I know that God doesn't want me out spreading this message as a single person that's actually doing it? You know, I've had people say that to me, especially on YouTube, where they're like, oh my God, it's so good to hear from a single man that's waiting, that's not a guy that's married and now getting laid, you know, that did it, but a guy that's actually doing it right now, you know. And I believe that maybe that's why God hasn't brought a wife into my life, is because He's like, no, you're going to go out and spread this message, and you're actually going to be doing it, because it gives more credence to the message to actually say, so and not to mention, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because not only is this guy, you know, he had a lot of sex, and, you know, he's around it all the time. He's in social settings with City Fam, so he's doing it. So I know I've had people say to me, they're like, you give me hope, because if you can do it, then anybody can do it. And maybe that's why, I don't know. So if I was to go out now and say, hey, let me go find somebody and just get married because I don't want to wait anymore because it's hard, or I'm afraid I'm going to make a mistake and let everybody down, that would be me deciding for myself, when maybe that's not the plan. Maybe it is supposed to be hard, you know? And God's just like, no, this isn't going to happen for you yet. I don't know. All I know is I'm not willing to make that decision and settle just because it's difficult. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's difficult and sometimes dangerous, and it's, you know, and it's hard. But, you know, if you're out there and you're struggling, you know, it's the right thing. you're doing the right thing. And I believe that the payoff will come. You just have to keep walking, and you have to surround yourself with the right people. I mean, if you look at my life, the evidence is undeniable that it works. I have so many good things going on, so much impact. God continues to enlarge my territory and give me all these cool things. But the sacrifice is that thing. Like, okay, I'm not sinning in that area of my life. I'm not, having sex. I'm not partaking. One day I'll be able to fall in love and I'll have all the sex and it's going to be awesome, but just not today, So, but if it were up to me, yes, I'd rather be married. I'd rather be married, living a quiet life somewhere in the burbs, like whatever, but that's not what he called me to, and I have to run my race. So anyway, tour's coming up. I'm very excited about that. It starts in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. I leave on February 19th, so I guess it's about 4 or 5 weeks. And yeah, I'm believing it's gonna change things for me for sure. I mean, definitely in my schedule. We're gonna be on the road for 3 months straight, traveling around England, Ireland, and Scotland, speaking. Promoting the book, promoting the talks, starting groups, filming everything, which is going to be awesome. We're going to be posting lots of stuff on social media. But the plan is at the end of the 12 weeks, we're actually going to take all that footage and we're going to make a documentary called The Truth About Loneliness. And we're going to use that. We're going to run ads from the City Fan page. We're going to sell some copies, which we'll use to fund the mission, but we'll also be spreading our message, about this loneliness epidemic and what I believe. I believe that City Fam is the answer because I believe that community is the answer to the loneliness epidemic, and you just have to give people a framework for them to build healthy community. So we'll be documenting it all, and that's going to be really cool. So I'm excited about it. So anyway, if you're in any of those cities, if you're in London, Edinburgh, Manchester, Birmingham, or Nottingham. Those are the 5 cities I know for sure that we have events between February and maybe middle of April. You can reach out, or if you know somebody that's over there, and then we're going to be spending another 4 weeks after that. We'll be in various other cities, which I'm not sure about. But yeah, it's great. I mean, so that is probably the biggest thing that I have to talk about is the tour. I'm actually also just getting done building a book funnel where I'm going to be giving away copies of the book. I'm going to be running ads on social media, and I'm believing that through that we're going to get a lot of requests for the tour. We're also going to get requests from people that read the book that will want to start City Fams because we're giving away the study guide to go along with the book. So. It's a lot of good stuff that's happening, but it's been a sacrifice of a lot of things to get here. Like I had to make hard decisions to get to this point. Like, I drove a borrowed vehicle for 2.5 years, and my living situation and being single and I burnt the candle at both ends, and I'm in a great place where it's a lot of good stuff that's about to happen because of all the right decisions and all the sacrifice, but it definitely came at a cost to me, and which I believe led to me almost making a big mistake on New Year's Eve, because I'm just at the point where I'm like tired, like I'm really ready for the breakthrough to happen, and to give myself a little bit of like, just do something for myself, or just to take a break and like, reap some of the rewards from all the right decisions and all the sacrifice. But, God knows the timing, and his timing's always perfect. So I just got to keep trying, trusting him and putting in the work, staying consistent, doing my best to wake up early, continue to, do my quiet time, visualize, read the word, get up, work out, get into the office early, grind, get good sleep at night. That's pretty much been my recipe for success. Volunteer, regularly, do some life coaching, socialize with the right people, go to church on Sunday, those are the things I do over and over again, and you just got to stay consistent. That's what's produced great results for me, is just doing those things over and over. So I leave for Houston this Sunday, which I'm excited about. I'm actually going to go down there and spend 4 days in Galveston at a Bay House, just doing a little R&R, unplugging, getting quiet, thinking, praying, journaling, and then I'm gonna go back to Houston and meet with Nicole Richard. Shout out to her. She is absolutely killing it as the new executive director of CityFam. We're gonna meet, we're gonna strategize. We're gonna meet with her father, and we're gonna put together a nice 2-year plan for CityFam and what we're gonna be doing in the coming 24 months. So I'm excited about that. I'm actually going to be down there. If the Ravens win this weekend, which I think it's kind of a foregone conclusion that we're going to win, and the Texans win this weekend, then the conference championship will be the Ravens versus the Texans, and I'll be in Houston when that happens. So I'm hoping that they both win, because that would be fun. There'll be a lot of shit talking going on between me and the Houston chapter down there. So I'm hoping that happens. And then Columbus, Ohio, Nicole and I are going to Columbus, Ohio to meet with Angel Peterson and her group. They have a group meeting there called Single Fam Columbus, which is kind of the pre-City Fam. It's called Single Fam. So we're going to go there, meet with them. We're going to be doing a Night to Shine. We're doing a volunteer event with Night to Shine, which I'm really excited about. That's Tim Tebow's organization, or the organization he's part of. And then again, we leave for Europe on February 19th, and I'll be gone for 3 months, which is going to be, I think, pretty awesome. I've never been away from home for 3 months straight, but I'm excited to go. I need a change in my routine, so I'm hoping it's going to be really enjoyable. So I got a great group of people in London that are putting everything together. If you're all watching this, shout out to you. Shout out to Sarah Lee. You are killing it, and I'm so grateful to have you on the team. And I'm looking forward to some fish and chips this Daniel Fast. I'm on day 4 of the Daniel Fast. It is already getting old, so yeah, that's it. I'll put up another post next week. Appreciate you guys. See you.